Hi everyone, my name is Manpreet, and for today's PCHS podcast, we're here with Dharanjeet, our peer support worker. He works with youth, adults for mental health and addiction. Today we're going to be talking about parenting, but we're going to specifically take it from the perspective of us and what we appreciated and learned from our parents growing up. So Dharanjeet, how do you feel like your parental experience was when you were growing up?
My dad, he left for Dubai. I was born in India. I saw him once a year for like 1 month. So I vividly remember asking my mom, who's that guy? But then he moved to Canada, and after that, again, the immigrant lifestyle away, just trying to educate himself, get a proper job, start off as a mechanic, then got into trucking. Then he'd be gone for like 2 days. I'd see him like once every 2 days or so. And so a lot of the time it was just when I was in India, we were in a joint family. I had a lot of people around me to take care of me. So I had my aunts, I had my uncles and whatnot. They were there, grandparents. So once I came here, suddenly my whole family became very smaller, and then my dad's not there as much, but he always had this strict attitude of doctor, lawyer, study hard. That's the way out of this grind. So it's basically whatever he missed out on, and he projected that onto me.
Slowly, like their goals kind of become your own.
Exactly.
And you get like that stress of trying to kind of give them what they deserve because you feel guilty because they're constantly overworking themselves.
Yes.
Some people are even working like 2-3 jobs to make ends meet for their kids.
So I think a lot of people are victims to that success of like, my parents worked hard to get me everything. Therefore, I have no choice but to succeed. It's this trap that I felt, especially during high school. I have to get a good degree, I have to get a good job. If he's worked this hard, I should be succeeding much better and provide whatever he couldn't to himself, right? Like my dad, very simple stories. My grandfather, his dad, pulled him out of school at grade 12. He's like, you don't need to study, just work. So he's like, I missed out on the education. I want him to study. So he projected that onto me. I think it's a very common thing that parents obviously want the best for their kids. What they couldn't have, their kids should have, right? But I think that's also a trap for that kid because then it becomes a sort of pressure. And more often than not, people break under that pressure because the support really isn't there, especially when the dad's working nonstop, mother's trying to like make sure cook and clean, make sure the house runs, or if they're working as well, then the kid's just self-governing.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Like even for me growing up, like both of my parents worked. I was raised by mainly like my grandparents, and having both parents absent and even my dad absent for like 2-3 days at a time, it's hard because you lose that anchor or that security of both parents. Do you feel like at any moment that your learning or the way you grew up was different and your parental styles were different than people around you?
I would say just because I'm the youngest, I have like 5 or 8 year gap between my older siblings. So I've always had to be a little bit independent in terms of just learning stuff. And even back when I was in India, my cousins, I always felt a little bit different because they were more of like, let's just play, do whatever. Mine was like, I want to study. But after that, I realized that my social skills were a little bit different. I was okay with being alone, especially again, like coming to Canada, had no friends, no family. I had to learn to be alone with myself. So then it became a norm where then family, my dad would have conversations with me. He was very aware of the fact that I haven't been available in this child's life. So he would purposely take me to places and sit me down in like uncomfortable situations, telling you should know how to respond. For example, he would take me to parties with his friends. I'm the only child there, and I'm having conversations with people almost like triple my age. So it put me in very awkward situations where I kind of had to learn how to talk, how social situations work. So he set very firm rules, but then he also gave me the space to just like do whatever I wanted.
Yeah. I think that's so important. Giving your kids like that chance to be independent, make mistakes and not make them feel bad for them. But similarly, like I was always made uncomfortable. So eventually like my parents were like, if she's exposed to it enough, she will be comfortable, because I was very shy, very quiet growing up. And over time, like even if it came to, okay, so you're going to do this task, because they knew that the more I did it, the more independent I would be, which I think is really important. Like don't be the helicopter parent, but don't be neglectful, but have that sense of trust and that security in the kid that they will be able to figure it out or they'll be able to do it. It's very great life skills to have.
Yeah, I think that's one of the positive sides of like a parent. And then that I think is important because it gives the child an opportunity to be a lot more mature, to be honest. And I think it's important because kids are more capable than we give them credit for. I feel like, especially in the eastern side of the world, kids are raised in a much more capable manner. There are positives and negatives. I think ultimately you just need to be a good enough parent, give them space to just make mistakes, but also be a safe haven for them. So when they do make mistakes, they're supported, not yelled at, which I think my parents struggle to find a balance with, because my dad's like more of a criticism type, because his belief is like, again, from India where people are super aggressive, they take advantage of you. So his parenting style was very aggressive. He'd criticize because he would think that if I don't criticize, he's going to experience it outside. I'd rather him experience it from me, where then he thought my mindset would be, I'm going to prove him wrong.
Yeah.
Which was like 50-50.
Exactly.
Or the alternative where some kids break down. When a person gets criticized so much to the point when they grow up, they don't know if they have this ability to do X, Y, and Z, right?
Making every small decision is such a daunting task. So they don't end up doing it anyways.
Exactly.
And the lack of discipline kind of goes away because mom and dad are going to come and help them. So if someone is struggling with gaining independence from their parents, what do you think is like one of the first steps they should take?
I think having a conversation, it depends on the person, depends on the parent themselves. For example, university, it's like all this freedom. All of a sudden, my parents are used to me being home. I went out here and there, but I was like, university forced me to be out all day no matter what. Classes will be till 9 p.m. sometimes. And I'd come home tired, go to sleep, not interact with them as much. Suddenly they were like, oh my God, like we don't even talk to our son anymore. And one day I woke up, my eyes were red. My dad's like, dude, raga karna. All of a sudden, I'm like, huh? And then that like really like took me for a spin because I'm like, my dad really doesn't trust me. And I could have gone that way where I got hurt. But then at some point, I think I recognized that fear of his. So I just asked, I told him, like, you raised me right. Have the confidence for me to not do stupid things when I'm put in stupid situations.
Yeah.
Right. And that conversation will allow either the parents to adjust. And if they're not listening, then there's a disconnect, which means like settings needs to change, the message needs to change, or like some third party can be brought into media, but realistically, that's a very formal thing.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, parents want the best for their kids. If the kid communicates it well enough, the parent should acknowledge it. And sometimes they can't get over their own anxiety, so they'll project it onto the kid, which at that point, I think there needs to be that discomfort that, well, the child needs to be comfortable with letting their parents not always agree with them. I had to fight sometimes with my parents to just go out. Like my first road trip was to the East Coast, and I had to convince my parents because they were like, oh my God, he's going to be away for a week. What if this guy comes back? What if he doesn't come back? So I had to fight.
It's like a natural fear. But I think in my personal situation, what has helped me with like any strictness or gaining independence is being honest, letting them know like, this is where I'm going to go. This is how long I'll be. I might be later. Just making sure that they know the people that are around you. I think that's what helped with their anxiety of me leaving the house and being more independent. Over time, the more you do something, the less anxious they'll be and the more trusting they will be.
Yes.
Even any career choices either. Making sure that you are honest with them, like I don't enjoy it. And over time, they let go of the idea of that control because not everybody around them is a doctor or a lawyer. Like people have different interests that they want to pursue.
Yeah, it's just like competency, right? Just showing them that you're capable of handling the outside world. Like, a parent's biggest fear is like letting their kid go into the world, fear of them getting hurt. But like once you come back, you communicate, be honest. I think that really makes a big difference, especially with my parents. My dad always say like, after this point, me and your friends. He says that, but then there are times where suddenly he'll be overbearing. Like, right? But it's just having that confidence in yourself and like letting them know, I have this, whether I make a mistake or not, you'll find out, but trust me enough. And some kids are uncomfortable with the idea of having that conversation with their parents and walking away disappointed from their parents. Because again, like they're heroes in their minds because they're always right. And now suddenly you have to come to that terms like they might not always be right. I know I'm right.
It's the first like honest conversation is always so daunting. It's really difficult. You're super anxious, but I know the more times I've had like honest conversations with my mom, I'm at a point now where I tell her everything and she likes to hear what I have to say and she gives me her own input and it's a very natural conversation. And you'll sometimes be surprised at their responses. They might even be way more Western than the way you think too.
I agree. Parents will surprise you. I always tell a lot of people that just give them a chance. Until you give them a chance, you're not leaving room for the possibility that they might surprise you and they might actually be on your side. And I think a lot of oppressed kids feel that way where they can't talk to their parents. And that is also the parents' responsibility of how to respond to their child's mistake. If you make a mountain out of a molehill every step of the way wherever they mess up, that leads to the fact that I'm not allowed to mess up, which is a very result-focused approach. Whereas from just research, and they say that if you encourage the child internally, like you worked hard, you're a hardworking person, you're a good person, not result-focused, they end up having more self-efficacy. They feel more confident in completing tasks. They understand that getting A isn't the goal. The goal is to work hard. They internalize those values and that results in a more confident kid. And secondly, I think just give them responsibility. Let them do stuff by themselves.
Or even like leading by example. Like I don't think you can teach someone kindness as much as you can show them what kindness is. Like kids are such a sponge. They take in everything they see around them rather than their parents telling them this is not nice, but them doing the same thing 2 minutes later.
It's the same thing, right? Like breaking generational trauma, generational habits, and then just also understanding that we're no longer in India, and even India has evolved. Those values have shifted, and some of them are backwards, some of them needs to change. Some parents don't have the self-awareness, so the kids can choose to fight every battle with them, and then suddenly becomes a hostile like environment. Or have a conversation where it's not a fight. Maybe take them out. Don't have the conversation in your household, because that's where a lot of fights have happened. Now suddenly you're putting them in a defensive state. Go outside, have a conversation, take them for a trip down like to Starbucks or something. Just like, Dad, I want to talk to you about something. Mom, this is what's happening and I need your support. Even if you come to them in that sort of approach, what kind of parent would say, my kid's asking me for help and I'm going to say no, right?
Yeah, they're being vulnerable at that moment.
Yes. And some parents maybe might not even realize it, but like that their kid's asking for help. Sometimes just their own trauma triggers, they're getting in the way of just hearing that connection, right? That communication.
And it's their first time being parents as well.
Yes.
It's like, it's not an experience they've had over and over again.
And every kid's different, right? Like I'm soon to be a father, and my biggest scare like is right now, it's like, damn, I can't pass on my trauma, because sometimes I realize that criticism sometimes triggers me, not to like aggression, to the fact of just becoming defensive and say, I did nothing wrong, and I'll just dig my heels, which is a very common thing for almost everyone. It's like, I'm not wrong, you're wrong. But then just like getting to that point where it's like, I'll have to now be aware in front of my kid, and then I have to show that kid that it's okay to be wrong. It's how you handle that mistake that counts, not just being wrong.
It's like your own self-work for your kid as well.
Yes, it's like legitimately all I'm doing now is like thinking about like my childhood, like, okay, where did I mess up? Am I going to pass that on? Right? So it's a big thing.
PCHS is a not-for-profit organization that provides services free of charge. We help our community with various services, for example, mental health and addiction. This includes like one-on-one counseling, case management, referrals, groups. That's not all. We have more programs to help our community grow. For more information, visit our website at www.pchs4u.com.